Welcome on back to the 4th and 30 podcast. Glad to have you again with us. I guess it's been 2 weeks now. I had a little bit of stuff going on in my personal life. Had a baby. Got a new Carl in the house. He's not named Carl, but he's a new Carl.
Congratulations to the newest member of the Dad Club.
Now it's just Kyler needs to join. Kyler, you working on
Congratulations, Carl.
that?
No comment. He's going to Naomi Osaka this
Dakota
week.
better watch this.
But so last week you heard us talk about our best coach, best particular sport athlete, best uniform, and I asked you guys to leave a comment on any of the social medias about what were your guys' favorite. We had one on YouTube from good old Neil Raymer. He commented with Waterboy for the football movie. So, I mean,
which is
you're
something
you're not right, but you're not completely wrong.
Yeah,
so
I can't believe none of us thought about just threw the name Waterboy out or threw the title out. That's a good one that slipped through the cracks.
Did you even listen to the podcast? It got through out.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I've seen people related to Waterboy. I've seen people throw this out there before. If you had to pick a movie player to start a football team with, you'd have to go with Bobby Boucher. There's no other player that can, at a linebacker position, can make such an impact.
I don't know. You got Forrest Gump and Keanu Reeves from the replacements. They're both pretty lights out. He
single-handedly took them to the bowl game and won.
And Forrest Gump,
a linebacker.
Forrest Gump won a natty.
And he didn't show up till halftime.
A linebacker or something like that.
Okay, and then we had another guy. We had two people on TikTok. We had Big Boy Burke 1 came in with Blindside, which is a very heartwarming story, not the best football movie. And his uniform choice was Dolphins Color Rush. So kudos to that. Those are pretty good unis.
Yes, they are.
And then we had another guy comment on TikTok. His movie was Remember the Titans, so he was right.
100%.
But his uniforms made him wrong. So a NASCAR, the car, it's not a uniform, bud. Sorry. I would give you their fire suit. Maybe?
It's along the same lines.
Ain't a uniform. But he said it was between Gordon's Rainbow Warrior car or Dale Earnhardt's iconic Black Intimidator car. So raise hail, praise Dale. But, you can't. That ain't a uniform, bud.
I mean, in his defense, Gordon's car was pretty nice.
Yeah, moving on.
Okie dokie. So, if you're going to wear a uniform, you're going to have probably a logo on your chest. If you have a logo on your chest, that means you're probably going to play somewhere where that logo is on your field, on your court, something, right? And so it's a kind of an unwritten rule that you don't mess with the logo of the team you're playing at. This week, Kyrie Irving took it upon himself to step on the Celtics logo at half court, and hijinks ensued on social media because of that. And there was a little bit of group chat back and forth between the two people at the bottom of your screen about what's allowed there and what's not allowed there. So why don't you guys just go ahead and have at it? What's your guys' take on stepping on logos?
So in sports, I'm not a big fan of the unwritten rules. Okay, I love baseball, and just doing this podcast has gotten me into baseball more this year than I have been since 2016. If anything explains why, but unwritten rules
fair weather fan
are pretty well dumb in the sense of sports. But there's one thing, and here's my take on it, and why I think Kyrie was wrong, and this is what Kelsey and I disagreed with about, and we should have saved it for the entire argument for the podcast because we've already had it out once today. But when you play for a team, that if you're bought in to that team, that organization, that system, that logo means a lot to you. Okay, it's an extension of family. For the teams for me, Kelsey and Kai, who've played together. We didn't play for a logo per se, but you guys were like family to me when we're on the court together and off the court. Yeah, the Zoo Crew. And I'm not going to let anybody disrespect my teammates, my logo, who I play for, my organization from top to bottom. And so that's when Kyrie did that, he has every right to do that. But if he gets put on his ass next game, the Celtics had every right to do it, to retaliate to him. And and so after Kelsey and I were done arguing today, I asked my wife, I said, so if somebody stepped on your logo in a softball game, would you throw a pitch at them? Like, would you want them thrown at the next time? And she said, no, it's just a logo. So I kind of see both sides of it now, but to me, it's just something sacred about it. I'm not going to let anybody stomp on my logo and get away with it. That's just, so I just feel like there's two type of people. There's two type of people that defend the organization they play for, and then there's people who are soft as hell. It just...
Let's go back and ask your wife when she was 17 and a cheerleader if she would have said the same thing.
So hold on. Here's why you're wrong, Cody. So I'm not even saying it's not even about whether the logo is important or not. The series is 3-1. So calling the Celtics soft because they won't protect the logo, the Celtics are soft because they're getting their ass kicked. That's why they're soft. Like, the Celtics should be worried about winning the series, not whether or not Kyrie stepped on the logo when he was shaking people's hands. Okay, good for him. He went out and stepped his left foot right on the head of the Boston Celtic. They should be way more worried about the fact that the series is 3-1 than the fact that he stepped on the head of the Boston Celtic.
They are grown men. They understand they had no chance to win that going into that. They're just playing to not get.
You're telling him to hit him or make him put a hard foul on him because he stepped on the head, and then you call him grown men. That's the opposite of being grown men.
The Celtics shouldn't be worried at all about winning this series because they're going up against Harden, Westbrook, and Kyrie Irving. They aren't going to win. If I was the Nets...
Did they trade Durant for Westbrook?
Yeah, they traded Durant.
Whoever they have, it's not even going to be... Their Celtics aren't going to win. Jason Tatum can't score 50 every game. Although Jason Tatum has impressed me. But
he has looked
good.
If I was the Celtics, I would put about that 10th guy on the bench in the game next game, have him guard Kyrie, and put him on his ass.
The goon. We talked about the goon.
If you can't win with class, you need to be knocked on your ass.
And
so, hey, hold on. If you can't win with class, we're going to lose with no class as well, is what Kyler's saying. Because
an eye for an eye.
Two wrongs to me have always equaled a right.
So that's what they always say. Vontae's perfect is perfect in your eyes.
Yeah, Vontae's perfect should have laid Juju on his ass.
No, it was the opposite. Juju laid Burfict on his ass after Burfict laid Antonio Brown.
No, we're talking about when Juju...
And let's be honest.
Burfict had the hit on him.
Burfict never hit Juju.
Who was it that hit Juju on that interception?
That was the Bengals this year. That Burfict doesn't even play for him anymore.
He's been out of the league a couple years. But yeah, and so Kai and I have been in a different topic, have been on the conversation of winning with class and losing with class conversation with a few people. And I'm a big believer in you win with class. You don't run the score up on people. You take your victory, you take it handily, but in a scenario like, all the way down to high school basketball, you don't run the score up on people. You don't. That's why I love Juju, but you don't dance on the other team's logo. I've stayed with that statement since Juju did it. And it's one of those things. I said from the beginning, I like Juju. He's a likable guy. You just don't do that. And so that's the thing is...
It's just extra bulletin board material. And if the other team's going to use it, then so be it. Use it as motivation.
And if
you think it stems from Kyrie's time in Boston?
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah.
But that was all Kyrie's fault.
And because he ain't doing... He's not going to go step on the Heat logo or the Bucks antlers or anything like that. He's doing it in Boston because of the failed time in Boston. Whoever's fault that was, that's neither here nor there. But it's a thing, if he did it in Game 5, and I don't want anyone to get hurt. I hate seeing injuries in sports. I hate it, especially when it's somebody like when Andrew Bynum knocked JJ Barea on his ass and probably should have killed him. That has no place in sports. But when Kyrie goes up for a 3 in Game 6 and lands and is cleared of everything, he needs to get pushed right into the bench. That's just my thing.
There's ways to give guys like Kyrie little bumps and bruises throughout the game without doing something.
A hard screen, something like that. A full court screen, something. But
apparently, Draymond Green has a flagrant foul named after him, or a flagrant foul rule named after him, so they could give him the Draymond Green treatment.
Yep.
Well, you're saying two different things. I mean, I'm a firm believer in if someone's going to the paint, you give them a little elbow to make them not want to come to the paint again. But you were saying that they should take
No,
Kyrie out after
you
he
add a
stepped.
little sauce to it.
You
You
were
don't
saying
just
that
give him the
they
elbow.
should give Kyrie a hit after he stepped on the head. Those are two different things. Like if you're just saying every time someone comes to the paint, I'm going to make them not want to come to the paint again.
No,
That's a
I'm
little bit
saying
different.
in the paint, if you undercut somebody when they come to the paint, you're a dick. And
Well, yeah, I agree.
but so I'm not saying anything of that sort, but I'm also saying a lot harder than when people talk 90s basketball and when you drove to the basket, you got put on your ass every time. I'm talking harder than that, but not to the point of an injury. Like when Kyrie turns his head and you come up there and set a screen on him, dip that shoulder in a little bit, okay? Nothing that's going to end his season, but he's going to hit the floor and he's going to think, damn, was stepping on that logo worth it? Was that really worth it?
He's step on it again, but it's a 4-1.
As fragile as a psyche he has, it might end his season.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes into another topic of not the psyche part, but that goes into another topic of fans are back, right? So we've seen that.
They made that evident.
Fans are back in the NBA. Fans are back in a lot of MLB stadiums across. We saw Phil Mickelson get swarmed, which we'll get to later. But with fans being back, fan drama has came back as well. So I believe it was the same game. Somebody threw a water bottle at Kyrie Irving's head as he was walking off the court. And then, you have Trae Young getting spit on. Westbrook had popcorn dumped on him. So, what do you think is the solution to this? So you can be an avid fan. You can be energetic about your team and all that. But at the end of the day, you can't, as a fan, you're not the one out there making the product. You can't really be that ignorant to the players that are putting that on the floor. Like you can't go around doing that. So what do you think should be a solution for some of these sports teams that have fans that are unruly like this?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that shouldn't be a solution because I've heard it like 3 times now on 3 different shows and once on the radio. People are saying maybe fans just shouldn't be at sports, and that's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard because
Yeah, that's
2020
wrong.
was the most boring year without fans in the stadiums.
Well, fans
I don't
make
know what the
sports.
right answer is.
I mean, yeah, that's not the solution because without fans, there's less money. The only solution is you just, you arrest them and give them a lifetime ban. I mean,
But
there's
how
really
do you
not
do
a-
a
Where's that
lifetime ban?
Like everyone keeps saying that these people are banned for life. I mean, what? They can't buy the tickets themselves? Can their friend buy the ticket and then come in with them? Like,
we got banned from the Ameristar. Have you tried going in there?
no, I haven't. Let's go try it out and see how it
We
works.
did get banned from the Ameristar, and we have not
difference
tried to go
is-
back.
The difference is we have to give our ID when we go there. When we go to a basketball game, you don't have to give your ID.
Yeah.
I don't know
To
how you
me,
regulate that. But
let's go back to let that athlete go up there in the stadium and bop him one. He wouldn't do it again, though. I mean, they're athletes for a reason, and like I guarantee you, average Joe Blow that lives in, if the game was in Boston, that lives there in Foxborough, that went to it, 45-year-old white guy, he's not going to want to do that again.
No,
Guarantee you that.
in all seriousness, I agree with it being some sort of misdemeanor. Give them a big fine, make them spend a couple hours in jail. That would deter a lot of people, I think. I just watched a video of Ron Artest talking about the Malice in the Palace last night, actually. And he said he has seen video of the stuff fans were doing that they had on camera back in 2001, I think is when the Malice happened, 2003 maybe. But he said that, that security camera footage doesn't come out to the public because they don't want the public to see how bad the fans were being. They showed them behind closed doors, but they only showed the public the stuff that was pretty neutral in fans and players misbehaving. And Ron Artest said that, they knew exactly who did it. No one knows. You don't ever see the cup of beer get thrown in the cameras because they don't show it because they don't want that guy's safety being in jeopardy. But Ron Artest says he knows exactly who it is because he's seen video footage of it. So fast forward to 2021, they are going to be able to pinpoint who does whatever in that stadium at any point in time. It's going to be on camera. They're going to have names electronically saved for seats and whatnot. And so I think it would be able to be fairly easy to punish people, maybe not to keep them out of future events. That seems kind of rough. But hey, I'm fine with, hey, this is so-and-so from 106 Main Street. You got to come down here at halftime next game, box Tristan Thompson. Good luck. And you sure you wanted to throw that popcorn that bad? On the other side of it, on the fan side of it, I do not condone fans being jackasses in any sort of it. But when you got ugly ass, vulture looking Trae Young walking around the edge of the court going the whole time, I want to throw popcorn from my house at him too. You can't do it. You can't do it, no matter how bad you want to. And then you got Kyrie stepping on the logo. He got a water bottle thrown at him after that. And then you got Westbrook being Westbrook. Westbrook's one of those guys, you either love him to pieces or you hate the way he plays. There's really no in between. There's no mediocre Westbrook fans.
Or you love and hate him, because I love and hate him at different times.
Okay, I didn't know that was a possibility, but there you go. But just the fire he plays with draws a lot of the attention to himself. So you got three guys there that are easy to not like, so I can see why somebody did throw the popcorn, but or the water bottle or the spit, but it's not okay. And
Philly does like historically have very aggressive fans. So
got a lot of
and then another thing is, we saw it in, what year did the Raptors win? 18? 19? 19?
Yeah, I was 19.
With Drake
last year pre-COVID.
Drake acting a fool in 2019, and then Spike Lee being back in the stands now. Those guys should have to act like normal fans. When this podcast blows up and we're making $1 billion a week and we have front row tickets to every game in America, we're not going to be able to act like that. We're not going to be able to go halfway out on the court, hooping and hollering, talking in players' ears when they're inbounding the ball. Neither should those guys. I see Spike Lee in the 90s and I see Spike Lee in 2020 out halfway on the court, jawing at players, standing in front of other fans. If he's standing in front of me,
Reggie Miller.
Yeah, and Trae Young gave him the same treatment the other night. Trae Young turned around and said, "Shh, you need to be quiet, bud. I'm killing your team." That's one thing that celebrities should have to act like everyday Joe fans should have to act too.
See, my thing is, if in the baseball, if an MLB player is allowed to hit a foul ball and spill my beer, I'm allowed to throw popcorn on him. I'm just saying.
Throw the ball back on the field.
No, I want to keep the ball.
Throw popcorn.
You want your cake and eat it.
You can
too.
buy another popcorn. You can't buy another foul ball.
No, like for Kyrie, like all these players in general, the retaliation's not up to the fans. It's up to the players, like we were talking about earlier. Let the players get back at them. Let them defend that logo. Fans have no business throwing water bottles, and somebody got spit on. Oh,
Trae Young.
I would have went straight into the
Dude,
stands.
So that was a bet that I thought was going to hit big time. Was the game after Trae Young got spit on that he would be the top scorer in that game? Wasn't even close. I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Wasn't that the game that won? Was the game after that?
Derrick Rose scored 30 that night, and I was just like, "Come on, man! Like you can't get spit on and not have that fire to go out there and drop 55." Like
The thing is, he's dropping dimes like crazy too.
I can't stand fans who act stupid. Believe it or not, me and Jason Weaver, of all people, have told people to shut up at Chiefs games before because they won't quit mouthing the other team's fans. And I don't mind
fans
a little
are
banter.
obnoxious.
I don't mind a little banter. I mean, it's fun to go back and forth. But when a guy's just trying to watch a game and you're excessively in his ear or throwing stuff at athletes is a whole nother level of that. And then like I said a few years ago at Chiefs Colts game, we had people throwing snowballs and with ice in them at people. Like, it's ridiculous, man.
But you
don't know. You have a random fan in the stands. You don't know that he didn't grow up there, like move to Kansas City and then went to a game, like, and that's just his fandom. You can't control that, because if the shoe was on the other foot and you were at a game at Indianapolis, like, they can't throw snowballs at you in Indianapolis because of the roof, but like, beer bottle, whatever it is, it's the same premise. Like, if you moved to Indianapolis, but you're still a Chiefs fan, you can't be doing that. Everybody bought the same style ticket.
Little banter isn't bad, but be cordial.
And shout out to Cardinals fans. I've been to tens, probably getting close to hundreds of Cardinals games, and only a handful of them have been Cubs versus Cardinals. But in every occasion where I go to a Cardinals game, I wear Cubs gear just to be a troll. And I've had nothing but friendly banter or polite things said to me. So it's definitely in the fan bases as well. What city you're in, what sport they're playing.
We went to Wrigley and I wore Cardinals gear and it's the same way.
Yeah.
You know, I at PNC Park, which little different. The Pirates suck, but like it
They
was
have 8,000 fans.
well, it was 50% red in there, but like every Pittsburgh fan came up to you like, "Man, you guys travel really well. You guys travel really well." It's like, well, if your team
Well,
didn't
you guys-
suck, the stadium would be a little more black. But
You guys don't even travel to your own stadium, so
Well, I wish I could say the same about Chiefs fans when I go to a Steelers game there, but
they have not been that bad.
Football
just depends
is
on your experience.
organically
I'm with
a
you, like,
little
I'm just-
more.
I'm just trolling. You just have those fans. Every fan base has those fans out there.
Yeah, there's a few fans who out but
Yeah.
it's not anything serious.
And football's organically a more aggressive sport, so I think you tend to find more aggressive fans there, which I'm not condoning it once again, but
And after 5 hours of tailgating, everyone's a little
everyone's a little sauced.
sauced, yeah. Which that's probably the good thing about college football is they make most opposing fans sit in a section. Like they
Mhm.
usually have their own section, so
Yeah,
they
they
don't
have their
have to
own
deal with
section.
those fights. But anyway, the NBA playoffs are going on. The East is shaping up about how everybody expected, just kind of no close competitions, but the West has some pretty close series going on. And we have a little bet going. And Kelsey, do you want to explain the bet we're doing?
Yeah, so we're doing it round by round. So I kind of made a Facebook post about it, and I put our picks on there. But round by round, so like we picked all the first round series right now. If you get the team that wins right, you get 3 points. And if you get the team that wins correct and the amount of games they won in, then you get a bonus point, so you get 4 points. I guess the only series that's ended right now is
Milwaukee, Miami.
Miami. Kyler, Carl, and I all picked Milwaukee. Cody picked Miami. None of us got the games right, so essentially it's 3-3-0 or 3-3-3-0 right now. So we're not very far into it, but that's pretty much how we're doing it. And we're gonna do it every round. So like as soon as all the second round games are determined, we'll start picking those. And it'll be the same thing: 3 points for getting the team right, and 1 bonus point for getting the amount of games it's in right.
And we're still working on a punishment for the lowest scorer. We don't.
And
It's
a reward for the highest
and a
score.
reward. It's going to have to be kind of personalized to each one of us because some people, a punishment for one person isn't necessarily a punishment for the next. But you never know. It might
You
be
have
making
those-
Kelsey drink a whole bunch of mass-produced beer, like instead of craft beer. You never know. But
If you have some ideas, please pitch them to us. We want something that preferably something we can do on the podcast, so we can do it with you guys. I don't know what that is right now, but any ideas would be great.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but Cody's starting out in the hole. And have you guys ever seen a 6'10" guy in a Speedo?
I can tell you it would not be pretty.
yeah, cool. So the West playoffs are actually pretty enticing. They're pretty juicy. So if we just want to go down the list here, 1 versus 8, Utah versus Memphis. Utah's up 2-1, and they play tonight, I believe. My only takeaway from that series is Ja Morant is balling out. That dude has heart. He's playing his heart out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a good young supporting cast too. Dylan Brooks is good. Jaren Jackson Jr. is good. Jonas Valanciunas, who I think has been underrated for years, is playing really well as well. So I don't know that Memphis has a shot to win it, but they've got a shot to take another game or two. Tonight will be a big turning point in that series, whether it's going to be a 4-1 series or whether it's going to be possibly a 7-game series.
Well, yeah, and Grayson Allen's been a pretty decent spark off the bench as well, scoring wise. But they just don't have as much as the Jazz. So Mitchell missed game 1, the Jazz lost. He's been back. They've won 2 in a row. I kind of get the feeling Jazz will run away with this series, but that's nothing against what Ja Morant's doing. That guy's a superstar, and we're going to see a lot of exciting play out of him over the next 10 years.
Yes, we will.
I mean, you guys pretty much nailed it. I think the Jazz are and it's probably going to be 4-1 or 4-2, but Ja Morant is going to be a man to be reckoned with in the near future.
He's making this is his come out party, I think. I thought last year during the bubble was, but the playoffs this year have been like his I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Awakening.
Yes, his, hey, look at me, everybody. I'm playing in Memphis. I know only 6 people watch me on TV every night, but here I am on national TV for 5 or 6 games.
It's one thing to do it in the regular season. It's another thing to do it in Memphis in the playoffs and have your team competing. That's next level.
Against a team like Utah, who is clearly only zoning in on him, and he's still
one of the better defensive teams in the league.
And I've been pretty critical. I've been very critical of Jason Tatum every episode we've ever talked about the NBA on here. And then not so much publicly on here, but I'm not a big Trae Young fan. I just think, I don't know. He just hasn't shown much to me. But you want to talk about 2 guys making their case this playoffs. Jason Tatum, still not going to label him superstar, but he's making his case right now. He is single-handedly 1v9 taking on the New York or the Brooklyn Nets right now, failing, but it's not Tatum's fault whatsoever. He is playing his ass off. And then Trae Young, one guy who I'm not high on, Trae Young, another guy who I am high on, Julius Randle. Trae Young is dominating that matchup right now. Trae Young looks like he was built for the playoffs. Julius Randle looks like another regular season all-star.
But the NBA, what they're showing right now is that, they're in good hands for young fans moving forward. So,
yes.
We all grew up with, Jordan, Duncan, Shaq, Kobe, LeBron, but LeBron's almost done. I know he seems to be Iron Man, he's been a little complainy, but he can't play forever. And we're going to get LeBron James Jr. here in a few years, but I don't think he can be LeBron. But very good hands. Luka, Ja, Trae, Donovan Mitchell's carrying a flag.
Chet Holmgren.
You didn't even know who Chet Holmgren was 3 weeks ago.
But I love the guy.
Well, Steph Curry still got a couple years left in the tank. Klay Thompson's coming back. So the NBA is in a very good spot talent-wise, I think.
And it's pretty cool because we were all fairly young at the last changing of the guard. Not necessarily teenage years, but now as adults, you can really take in the changing of the guard. LeBron and Steph and all those guys kind of passing the torch on to, Giannis is kind of a middleman of he's not old, but he's not young anymore. And now these young guys that are, can barely buy beer in America are putting the league on notice.
So I've got a question for you guys. We talked a little bit about Tatum carrying the Celtics. Jaylen Brown healthy in this series? Does it make any difference?
No. It might make a game. It might go 6, but no.
It definitely makes a difference. Jaylen Brown's it's hard to discredit what he did, but it doesn't win them the series.
It doesn't win them the series, but they're not getting beat by 20 every game like they have been.
They have no chance to win the series if Jaylen Brown's healthy?
No. Because
I don't know. I'm a huge
as soon as
fan,
the
Celtics
games
have went,
as soon as the Celtics show that they're in the series, the Brooklyn Nets will turn it on.
Yeah,
they have it on. They scored 200 points. Their big three scored 200 points over 2 games.
Yeah.
They have it on.
Harden had 18 assists the other night. I mean,
Durant's averaging almost 35.
They still wouldn't have the firepower to keep up with that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who does, if anybody does.
I mean, I think right now the Nets are definitely right this second.
I mean, obviously, when a team scores at the rate the Nets do, you have to play defense to beat them, and the Celtics are not that team. Milwaukee will be a good show. I don't.
The thing that's good about the playoffs too.
Carl's about to say, what about the Sixers?
Teams that play good defense.
They won't play until the Eastern Finals.
It's
so.
way different in a 7-game series because you actually can prepare for a team. Your defense has such an advantage in a 7-game series as opposed to playing during the regular season because you can prepare for that team in a 7-game series.
What?
Playing them over 3 weeks is better than playing them once in 3 days' notice.
Oh yeah, talking about the good series we have out west. The Dallas Luka Doncic's against the Clippers. Game 1 and 2, Luka killed them boys because they weren't prepared. They once again thought they were going to come in and just steamroll that team, and they were just switching the first ball screen. Luka was picking whether he wanted Zubac or Pat Bev. Did he want to beat him with craftiness or did he want to beat him by size? And LA's changed that up the last 2 games, and it's LA's handled business.
Yeah, I mean, Kawhi Leonard is still like one of the best NBA players in the league. Like, you can't discredit it. Paul George is not playoff B, but like Kawhi is still a very, very good basketball player. So, still think the Clippers come out of that series, but Luka's going to make them earn it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is had it been, say it was a 1-game series or a 3-game series, Dallas wins that because LA wasn't prepared. Now, the beauty about NBA basketball, 7-game series, LA has it figured out. Dallas probably doesn't have much of a chance. I hope they do. I hope Dallas wins, but they realistically probably don't.
Well, if Luka doesn't get to 100%, they have no chance. If he's playing 70 or 80%, whatever it was last game, they have no shot.
If Porzingis played at 75% of his potential, they'd be a lot better. But he plays about 50% of what he's capable of.
Even when the series was 2-0, I told Cody this. I said, as soon as the Clippers figure out how to defend the Mavericks, they're not going to have an answer for it. And because it kind of reminds me of an old Cleveland Cavaliers LeBron James team first stint, where you just put a bunch of shooters around him, and you hope, Luka's makes the right play, but eventually those shooters go cold. The closeouts get a little better. The Clippers, when they've figured out how to defend them, it's going to be real tough for the Mavs to come back in that.
I do know that the Mavs potentially taking the Clippers of the distance is good for whoever comes out of Suns Lakers. Like, you never want to be in a really intense series, and then the next series
they play the winner of Jazz and
Grizzlies.
That's the 4-5 matchup.
Oh, it is 4-5. I have it wrote down wrong. Very good, guys.
But
so anyway, Denver and Portland going the distance is very good for whoever comes out of
like you were saying before you were interrupted.
If you'd let me finish, guys.
So that 1-8 and 2-7 series are in good shape because the 3-6 and 4-5 series are both going the distance.
That's right. So you don't want to go. You don't want to go to a 7-game series and your opponent's been sitting there with a sweep, like, and got all those days off. And so game 1 might have a little bit of rust for them, but they're still going to be more rested than you are.
The Lakers and the Suns drastically need to get healthy before the next round. Whoever comes out of that, they need days to get healthy. And Portland and Denver has all the makings to go. It's going at least 6, so it has the makings to go to 7. But so does the Lakers-Sun series. It looks like it's probably going to go 7 as well. So there's not going to be much time difference.
I don't know if you guys saw, but basically right before we started, they said does not look good for AD playing.
Yeah, playing tomorrow night.
Looks like he's going to be out. So that's huge for the Lakers. Yeah, I don't know.
DeAndre Ayton's playing well though for Phoenix.
Another guy
he's holding his own down there.
Playing great.
Another guy with a coming out party.
He's dominating. Like if Davis is out, Lakers have nobody to stop him.
We're gonna find out real quick if LeBron has one more little run in him, because if he can flash back classic LeBron in Game 5 and get that W, give AD some time to come back, the Lakers can win the series. But if LeBron can't be anywhere close to
2012 LeBron
carry one game, carry his team and will his team to victory, I think the Lakers might be in trouble.
And so let's talk about Ayton's having a great series. And Ayton's a great player. Number 1 overall pick. He's more than likely going to be a great player. And that guy is physically gifted as it gets. He's tall, strong, athletic, fast, jumps high. Why is Marc Gasol, a 40-year-old overweight Spaniard, a better matchup than DeAndre Ayton? Andre Drummond, yes. Ayton is absolutely eating Drummond's lunch, and Marc Gasol came in at the end of Game 4 and slowed Ayton down a little bit and gave the Lakers a chance. And Gasol's been horrible all year long. So I guess this is more of a Ayton's good. Why is Andre Drummond so bad when he has all the tools? He can go to
as an old vet like Gasol, you're going to learn those little things you can pull out in the
Very
playoffs
true.
against a
It's
young
the
guy.
intangibles. It's the intangibles that Gasol has over Andre Drummond, who really doesn't have the playoff experience. Exactly what Carl was saying.
Because he was stuck in Detroit for so damn long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and,
Gasol's never had athleticism.
and there's
He's always known how to play with how he
Yeah.
plays, kind of like Kyler over there.
and they always when talking about Marc Gasol, they always throw out one-time defensive player of the year. Marc Gasol, great defensive player, but that defensive player of the year award was the biggest sham of all time. That was how LeBron should have 13 MVP trophies right now. He should have one defensive player of the year trophy, and they gave it to second team all defensive Marc Gasol. Bye, Kels. I'm sorry, the truth hurts.
All right, you done? All right, I'm back.
Who should have won it that year then, Kelsey?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up, but here we go with Cody talking about how LeBron should have had 15 MVPs in a row.
Okay, that was an exaggeration. We understand that. But you do have to agree
Or
that
like eight or so.
whether LeBron gets that defensive player of the year or not, regardless, Marc Gasol had no business winning that, correct?
I really don't know. I'd have to look.
He was second team all defense. He wasn't even first team all defense that year and got defensive player of the year.
Isn't it the coaches vote on first team, second team, and the media votes on defensive player of the year?
I don't
That's how
know
it
exactly
works.
how it works.
I'm pretty sure
but
that's how it works, and that just
That would explain why.
proves your point that the media doesn't know what they're talking about.
But is it the same thing with MVP? Does the media vote on MVP?
Yes. It's analysts and sports
So
writers.
then
Yep.
first team and second team would be a better deal to go.
There's
back.
like 150 some odd votes from established AP members.
Like Mike Wilbon.
I think MVP there's 50.
Oh yeah, Mike
some.
Wilbon.
And
Yeah, that's right. Jay
NBA
Bill, Mike
MVP,
Wilbon
there's
talk
like-
about their MVP votes sometimes.
there's like 50 some votes. NBA MVP.
Well, pretty much the whole panel for Around the Horn. I think most of them, Jackie Mack and all them, they're all voters.
Jackie
How do they
Mack.
get-
Shout
how
out
do you
Jackie
get-
Mack.
Can somebody explain to me the points on Around the Horn, and can we start using them here? Like
We don't have a Tony
reality.
Reality. We can't do that.
Who
He's
do you
in a
determine
league of
who
his
gets
own.
points?
Nor do
He's
we
in a
have
league of his own.
Nor do we have that kind of technology around here, boys. But Kelsey, I can tell you right now, if we were to do Around the Horn style and the AV man gets to keep the points, you ain't ever winning. You are going 0 for the field.
Wait, who gets to keep the points?
Yeah, I'm saying if I keep the points, you ain't winning. We disagree
Well,
on
we
way
know-
too
we
much.
know if you keep the points. I usually probably disagree the most. I mean, if anybody in here is keeping the points, it's probably not me getting the points.
But that means we'd get mute buttons too.
Oh, thank God. I've got a mute button right over here. All I got to do is right click once. You guys tell me who, and they're donezo.
All right, so we covered the West, the East. Man, there ain't much to talk about in the East. I mean,
The second round could be good.
yeah,
But nobody
I mean,
expected
the
the
first
fir-
round's just not.
Expected a good series out of Hawks Knicks, and it's really not. Trey
Hawks,
Young's
Sixers, what do you guys expect?
Sixers in 4.
All right, so Nets, Bucks. What do you guys expect? I mean, this isn't a done deal, but I'm just asking. Like you're saying, it's a good series.
Yeah.
Bucks and 7.
Let's just talk about the Knicks for a second, though, because the Knicks were riding high, playing really good basketball coming into the playoffs, had won, a lot of their games to finish up the season, and they've been a pretty big disappointment.
The Hawks
they're
and
the
Knicks
Knicks.
were both two of the hottest teams in the league coming into.
Well,
the
and here's the thing, though, is you've got Atlanta, a very mellow city, a very, they love their sports teams. They're not fanatics, but they're like, they just kind of, they just kind of like, hey, here we are, we're in the playoffs, let's do this thing, and there's no
talking about the city in general.
and then you've got New York, who is the mecca of sports, the Garden, the mecca of sports, and they are just, oh my God, we're back in the playoffs. It's like the 1956 Knicks all over again, blah blah blah. And there's just too much pressure. There's just too much pressure on those young kids, and Julius Randle shit the bed. All them guys have. Bullock, I think, is about Derrick Rose. Shout out Derrick Rose. Okay,
playing his heart out.
I wanted to talk about this since the series has started, and it doesn't need to be a whole topic, but nobody in here, I think, is going to disagree one bit. Derrick Rose's comeback story is what movies are made of, bottom line. What he's doing right now, MVP, again, shouldn't have been the MVP, but a superstar player has his two best weapons in his knees or his legs taken out from him. The video of him outside that rehab clinic, the physical rehab clinic, where somebody says, Derrick Rose, you're the man, and he gets teary-eyed and says, I'm not anymore, when he was playing in Minnesota, I believe. Yeah. That stuff still jerks tears every time I see it. And now he can say he is back to being the man. He is 100% an NBA All-Star / superstar once again, with a completely different game. And it's awesome to see him do that. He is probably the only thing keeping the Knicks from getting swept right now or getting embarrassed. And he's playing his heart out. He's doing it for a team who traded him away to the Timberwolves. They said they took a gamble on him being healthy, and he couldn't get healthy, and they traded him away or cut him or whatever. They got rid of him, and he ended up in Minnesota. A little bit has to go to Thibodeau for being that guy. He was his coach in Chicago. He obviously cares a lot about him, to give him a chance. Put him back in the starting lineup after game 1 or game 2, I can't remember. And Derrick Rose has just ran away with it since then. So shout out Derrick Rose. He's playing amazing right now, and it's a heartwarming story to see him succeed in the playoffs once again.
It's been pretty awesome.
Expect from us. There's baseball's getting into the middle of the season, starting to figure out who's who and who's not. The Orioles and the Diamondbacks have went like 5 for their last 26 and wins. They're pretty bad. But, we got a little bit of that coming. There's golf all summer long. This is a big golf year. Olympics in a couple months. So, but for now.
Somebody had a big win over the Padres today. Oh, yeah, it was the Chicago Cubs.
Cool. Okay, so
I thought Carl was going to walk off the set this time.
Yeah, well, I'm about to. But we appreciate you guys listening. Tune in every week. Or every time we have a podcast, I guess. We appreciate all that support. Drop us a comment, do whatever you want. We appreciate everything. If you leave us a like, it only helps more people see it. That's the name of the game, is getting eyeballs on the podcast, or ear holes on the podcast if you're a Spotify or Apple Podcast listener. We appreciate everything. Until then, be good out there and tell your grandma.